Next on the Fantasia Talk Show, we have Abner Pastoll with A Good Woman is Hard to Find. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I would love for you to explain a little bit about your film. It's a thriller.
Yeah, it's a crime thriller, and it's about a young, recently widowed mother with 2 children, and it explores what lengths she'll go to protect her children while she's uncovering the truth behind who murdered her husband.
And where are you drawing the inspiration for this story?
In terms of stylistically, or
like stylistically, yes, because I feel like it's very stark and it's very homey. It's like upbeat is the wrong word, but like upbeat, like rhythmically, Ken Loach, like.
I mean, it's difficult for me to pinpoint the exact inspiration for it. I just try and do my own thing. I think at this point, I'm just sort of like trying to approach the material just from my perspective. But it's funny you mentioned Ken Loach, because that was very much sort of like in my mind, imagining what a Ken Loach genre film might be, and that's kind of the approach to the movie.
I mean, that's an exciting like proposition,
yeah.
right? Because he so like negates that universe.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet he kind of lends himself to it as well.
Yeah, you totally could. Yeah.
And one of the things too is like family is such an important central aspect of the film.
Yeah.
What about family are you drawing on, or are you trying to explore?
I find that I'm just drawn to the characters, really, and family dynamics in good storytelling are always going to be interesting to explore in some way, because everybody has issues with family, whether they're good or bad, and it's something that people can relate to. It's mostly focusing on the human sort of drama aspect of the family dynamics. I think that's basically what it's all about.
Yeah. Wasn't it someone like, I think it was Tolstoy who said all happy families are the same and all unhappy families are different in their own way.
Right.
And I feel like you kind of get to something that feels so familiar, maybe because we all relate to that family anxiety, but you're exploring something that I think a lot of people hopefully don't deal with, which is this grief.
Yeah.
And kind of having to go on and continue to care for your children. Did you have any particular challenges in tackling that aspect of the story?
Not specifically.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's what touched me though, like,
right.
Because it's such a harrowing thing to imagine.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the performance, actually. Sarah Bolger.
She's incredible.
Yeah, I think she really got the character, and so it was very easy for me in that sense to work with her, because most of my work had been done just by casting her.
Yeah.
It's all on you now, so you can bring the character to life, and I think that she actually amplified those feelings. On the page, it was different in a sense that when it was visualized, and she brings the character to life, it feels much more about grief than it did on the page. I think it's because we're able to actually see her and almost feel her emotions. Yeah.
And at what process was she involved in the movie? Because it feels so much of her project and her vehicle. She's an incredible actress in general, but this feels like career defining in a way.
I'm happy to hear that. I agree with that. I cast her 18 months before we started shooting.
Wow.
So we actually had quite a long time to develop a friendship and good working relationship. And so she pretty much knew exactly what she wanted to do and what I wanted her to do way before cameras were rolling. So when we actually got to that point where the financing and everything came together finally, and we got to shooting, we knew exactly what we were doing. And I think because we had that lengthy space of time to really develop the character, and we were always talking about the character every week, every couple of weeks, and as we got nearer to the shoot every day. And so that was what it was all about.
Yeah, and as far as the other casting, because the entire cast is incredible, and everyone seems to work very well together, and you're also working with children, which is always a challenge and a blessing, I'm sure. Was there extensive rehearsal process, or is a lot of it being done on the set?
Actually, it was pretty much all done on the set.
Wow.
So in terms of the rehearsals, we had very limited time for rehearsals. Obviously, Sarah and I had a lot of time to discuss it. We didn't actually have to do specific rehearsals, but to get into the frame of mind of what we were doing. We had a long time. And then Andrew Simpson, I cast him. He was the lead in my previous film, Road Games, and I cast him because the film is set in Northern Ireland, and he is from Northern Ireland. And when I read this character, Tito, I just couldn't picture anyone but him, and he was perfect for the role in the end. And we also had sort of like that short form because we had worked together.
Yeah.
So again, we didn't really need to rehearse because I just trusted him. I just let him, get on with it. And it was really good that Sarah and Andrew got along, and so did all the other cast, actually. That's always a worry when you choose your cast and you don't know whether they're going to actually click.
Yeah.
But I was lucky in the sense that everybody did click. And
was it always intended to be set in Northern Ireland?
Well, actually, not specifically. So my writer, Ronan Blaney, fantastic writer, he is actually from Northern Ireland. And so the script is actually not specifically set anywhere. It could be anywhere in Britain, anywhere in the UK. And Northern Ireland is, a part of the UK, but it's also Ireland. So it's sort of like in this interesting in-between. And that's kind of why I wanted to. It's not specifically in Belfast. We shot in Belfast, but I kind of wanted to use that location as sort of like the base for the film.
And I think it works really beautifully.
Right.
I'd like to thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
It's really a pleasure speaking with you.
It was great to be here.
And be sure to check out A Good Woman is Hard to Find at Fantasia. We have lots of other great videos and interviews on our YouTube channel, so please subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you.
I mean, it's always fantastic when people have that kind of interest and want to know the process of making the film. Yeah, a sense of accomplishment, like we got this movie done, and it's been shown now to a first audience, and it's just a great response.